Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Make Mine Mayday. I'm Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood webmaster of Spidey-Dude.com and executive producer of the Spidey Dude Radio Network. If you're watching us live on YouTube, you're seeing that this episode we're covering issues 75 through 79 of Spider-Girl. And as always, before we get started, I want to give a big shout-out, special thanks to our Patreons at patreon.com/SpideyDude Network. Vinkman, Scott, Jurgen, and Greg, thank you guys for your contributions and your help on this website with patreon.com. If you want to get more information, learn more over at patreon.com/Spidey Network. As always, we are so thankful for those guys, and there's going to be some more goodies coming on later this year, some fun, interactive stuff that I've got planned, and I hope and trust that everything will continue to work out on that, and I'm really excited. So, as always, I am joined, never alone on this. I am joined by Kelly. Hello, Kelly.
Hello. Yeah, so it's been a minute.
We've been busy.
It's fine.
It's good to be back, though. It's always good. It's always good to be back in the saddle. I did Spidey Dude Experience last night, and as I mentioned there, I am moving back to Texas. So put it into my 2 weeks. I will no longer be in this windowless-looking padded cell. That if you're not watching us on YouTube, my background's been painfully white this entire time.
I would take that versus like my dungeon-looking bedroom right now. So
I feel like it's a dungeon sometimes. But yeah, no, I'll be in the office, in my home office with my Spider-Girl stuff and my. I still haven't got it done yet. That's like going to be like the first thing I do when I get moved back in. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be down, back home and around Gabby. Gabby's excited. The wife's very excited. So really just looking forward to all of it. And I was hoping to visit our mutual friend Brad on my way back, but our schedules weren't going to work out. So
yeah, it's life. Yeah, at least things will start getting back to a good, happy normal instead of this temporary situation that was a strain on you.
Oh, it was a strain on me, and it was a strain on the show, and it was a strain on you. I know, because we want to produce content much more consistently. And so, but I kind of, it's crazy for me to think about it, but we're gonna be almost 80% there.
Yeah.
By the end of this episode, we're gonna have covered more or less
80%
of the first volume. Let me make that clear. The first volume.
I mean, but we still have this. We still have the side books.
Yes, we do.
And then of course, then there's Amazing and Spectacular.
There is Amazing and Spectacular, and then we've got Last Hero and Last Planet Standing coming up soon.
Yeah, well, like I said, side books. Yeah, because I will switch those two, their orders, because I can't ever remember which what name is which. I can tell you the story.
Last Hero was first.
Yes.
I do remember that.
And then Planet is second. Yeah. So yeah, we've got plenty of content. I would say I think this technically would be like maybe we're 45% there total.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I mean, we'd have to look at the spreadsheet, but I mean, like in covering this first volume, obviously it's the biggest volume. The fact that we've covered ANX, the fact that we've covered all the initial batch, the first year and a half of MC2, but there's still a lot. There's the Avengers Next. There is Fantastic Five miniseries, the Final Doom, and those 2 5-issue minis that last Blank Standing. And so, yeah, it's really, really cool. Just remember, Hero before Planet. That sounds like a Captain Planet.
I mean, I assumed it was. I mean, it just goes together. I before E, except after C. But also the English language is weird, and the rules don't matter.
Yeah. So. We just make it up as we go in the rules. It's like the English language is the whose line of it anyways of languages.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The points don't matter until the rules are made up.
All right. But yeah, so we have a lot to catch up on too since we've been away. Because speaking of our friend Brad, the day before I went on vacation, he sent me a lovely little article from Bleeding Cool, like that, which so the thing is, now we have hindsight, so now we understand. But that that article caused a lot of buzz from what it was trying to insinuate the leak was from. So I guess to fully get into it, if
the spoilers for issue 70 or 875.
It's been like 3 weeks. It's fine.
Just
when we record this, so like by the time it actually gets on a podcatcher, it's going to be a good few weeks out. But yeah, so it is kind of a spoiler.
It'll be next week because
okay.
As of today, I was going to talk about that later.
Oh.
All the episodes are now out. So,
yay! Woo! All right.
At least is caught up.
Yay!
By the end of the week or through the weekend, probably on Sunday or Monday, Spidey Experience will be caught up. That's one of my big goals before I left Nebraska. I wanted all my backlog to be done. So, and ASM Classics will be caught up. And because I know Craig on Twitter, you keep like yelling at me to get the last couple episodes of ASM Classics out. So, yeah, so you don't have to yell at me anymore. I will get the last. There's a total of 4 episodes left, I think.
Okay.
And 2 of them were released on the old feed.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of them were released on the Gotham Chronicle feed. They're called Vietnam A Go-Go, and it's kind of them riffing on Flash Thompson's time in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask; it's a whole thing. So I'm going to put those on the feed, and then we'll get to season 2 later on this year, if not early next year.
Awesome.
Depending on Javi and how everything's going with him. So
yeah. Anyway,
back to this.
To get back to this, so like basically just to kind of give context, it had been leaked before it came, like before that Wednesday, that a certain someone makes an appearance in this this ASM issue, and it kind of caused a frenzy. Now, whoever wrote the Bleeding Cool article, I'm not going to name their name, even though we know who wrote it. He kind of insinuated that our lovely hero, that Mayday Parker, would basically save the day, which isn't exactly how that worked. I won't go fully into it because I do a rant on the crawl space about in the crawl space episode about this, and I'm sure you've done stuff on the Spidey Did Experience, so like it's very much covered. The thing is she was a part of Mephisto's vision of his downfall. And it honestly might not even be Mayday, because it's very clearly not RA Next. This isn't 982. This is just a future world with a future kid. And she just happens to look a lot like Mayday, but that's kind of Mephisto's reasoning. Very flimsy reasoning. We could go into it, because I know on the crawl space we talked about how it really felt like editorial kind of came in.
It really did. And that same writer decided to write a bunch of cover for Marvel.
Yeah.
There wasn't any editorial interference. Listen, as I said literally last night, as we briefly said it, I said, you read the Spencer run in its entirety.
Mm-hmm. There's plot holes now. Yeah.
The tone and tenor of it is wildly different from Last Remains through the end.
Yeah.
And the voice doesn't work, the tone doesn't work, the scripting doesn't work.
It's a weird shift. But anyway, so that's kind of what happened. I know I think I had written this down just before it happened, just because like that was such a big deal. Like I literally was in the grocery store buying things to have like a bubble bath time before I left, which didn't actually happen because I got glutened. And that's a whole other situation. Because I bought
Kelly's gluten
I'm
intolerant.
I'm celiac, yeah. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun that night. But like the idea was to do a bubble bath, and I had bought a burger that was supposed to have a gluten-free bun. It did not, and I ate it before I realized that. So yay me. So yeah, so anyway, I was in the store and I literally like had to go, okay, well now I'm gonna buy like some sparkling wine and definitely have a little celebratory thing, and of course was immediately let down slightly. I will say that, you know, at least she's gotten some kind of Easter egg nod, which is something far better than
It's
as
better
of
than
late,
nothing.
I guess. Yeah. Like, you know, they could have used any Spider Kid. We could have gotten Abrams Man, but we didn't.
Or Annie
Yeah.
May, you know, it just was like there's a whole. It was trying to solve a problem, and it just created so many more questions.
Well, we could go into it. It's an entirely different topic.
Agreed.
It was a band-aid on something that very clearly is a tough topic for Marvel to admit to.
So that is so. It's funny because we talk. Okay, here's the thing. We'll talk a little bit about editorial influence in today's
Yeah, we
because
will.
it does tie into the fact that editors do try to step in and do things.
Yeah, and conversation's already happened. You can go find it. Everyone's got an opinion about it, but Mayday does make or at least someone who looks a lot like Mayday and is in the suit makes an appearance. I know some people were like, "Oh, that's red hair," but it's like a very red tinted world, so that didn't quite look like red hair to me. Could be. I don't know. I'm up for whatever. It's just not our Mayday, but it's cool to see. Then of course, while we were away, pre-orders for Volume 4 are up off on Amazon. So that means they're everywhere. So go ahead and pre-order Spider-Girl The Complete Collection Volume 4, either at your local comic book shop or off Amazon or Barnes & Noble or anywhere you want to buy it. But definitely pre-order that. And then when I was recording the crawl space, I was notified that the Funko Pop pre-order for Spider-Girl is sold out. She's not shipping out until December now, where she was November, but it was not available when we were recording. It was sold out.
That's awesome. I mean, that's
so
huge. That's a huge win for the community. Huge win for the fandom.
Yeah, well, that means too. That means they have to do a second run now, right?
And that means that they should release
do a second run. Yeah, because they're still selling. They're still selling Mayhem. So she's still around, but that means that like everybody that wanted to wait on a third party buying it, you might need to wait a little bit longer because they're gone. Guys, they are pre-ordered, they are claimed for. I'm excited. But yeah, so that's really exciting and fun. And then I have one thing here. I don't know if I want to talk about it. If you want to talk about it, we can, but I'm going to be very sheepish.
Okay, so there was and I wish I had my second screen because I would be sharing this. But I'll just say it was very sweet of Ron Friends to do a Mayday Monday, and the Mayday in the photo suspiciously looked like a lot like
Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore. Yeah, Mandy Moore. Yeah. Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this person sitting right next to me. Yeah. Suspiciously. Like a mixture of Mandy Moore and Kelly. It was very, very cool.
It was very cool. I'm very humbled and honored and like very I guess it's not sheepish about it, but I'm very humbled because it's very, very cool to kind of be used like my face is used like that. But what was funny is Facebook went down that day too. So everyone kept trying to message me and I would get these blips and notifications. but I couldn't see anything. Or I couldn't see what they were writing. And so it was just really, really funny. So when it finally
Kelly herself broke the internet. That's
exactly right.
Kelly was the cause. She was the cause of the hack because of Mayday.
Poor Javi tried so hard to get me to see it. And Facebook died.
Outside of like sending smoke signals, he was trying very hard.
Yeah,
because he was the first one that saw it, and I was like, "Oh, well, you know." But and then I was like, "Oh, I understand that reference there, Ron."
Hey,
it was really, really cool. I was very happy for you, because Ron's just a great guy. Can we just?
Yes.
Oh, we do need to mention.
Yes. Yeah, because I said mention it. I said to mention it. The Right Project.
The Right Project is up on Indiegogo right now. If you want to back it, it got funded.
It's gotten funded. I think the first issue's out.
Maybe? I don't know the first issue's out yet.
Okay, it's just fully funded. Okay.
It got fully funded. It got fully funded in 8 hours.
Yes.
So now everything's like stretch goals. So if you have not backed it yet, still got some time to do it. Support Tom, Ron, and Sal. Literally the creative team for all these issues today that we're covering. This is their newest project. And just when Tom DeFalco thought he was retired, Ron dragged him back in. I seem to remember Tom saying, "Oh, I'm done with comics. I won't do any more comics." I actually gave him a hard time on Facebook about it. I was like, and they said you were retired.
See,
so
you catch more. You could get better attention with honey over vinegar.
Oh, I'm not. I'm excited. I was doing it in a very jovial way.
Okay.
Anytime Tom DeFalco writes anything.
Yeah. So I was pulling it up on my phone just to make sure. I know that. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So it's December. It looks like for the comic book. It says estimated shipping December. So. All I know is that there's one, like, if you guys can't do like the triple stuff like that, there is a $10 buy the boys around. So
that is some cheap beer. Like we went and watched the football game the other because up in Nebraska I couldn't get the Cowboys game because they were showing a different game, and my compadre that I was with, my coworker, he decided to go buy some beer, and then he got his bar tab, and they were $7.50 a piece. And he was like, "How much did you spend?" What? I was like, "I had one beer. You had like 6."
I live in downtown Atlanta. Not that I can have beer, mind you, but yeah, it's not cheap. Alcohol. And I'm from Texas. Nothing's cheap, really, now. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Inflation. Yay. Comics are going to be $5.99 here pretty soon. Anyway.
I mean, they've been, honestly, if Spider-Man just became twice as, like, did the double size issues again and just kept charging $10, I would assume that that's just normal at this point. Because I feel like that happens every, few weeks?
Yeah, well, yeah. So we had the $8.75 was $10, and then $6 for $70 or for $8.76 because it was the new direction with Ben Reilly. More, check that out on Spider Experience.
Yes.
Here on the channel. But,
all right.
But yeah, so no, I'm ready. Rock this 75th anniversary issue. If you are.
75th anniversary. It's not a 75th anniversary. It's just a 75th issue, which was a big deal.
Yes.
So definitely start us off with hopefully some history first.
Yeah.
This is a big deal, and we've got a new suit on this cover.
This is the first time we've gotten a redesigned suit. Obviously, when this cover came out, it was very, very. Please pay no attention to the stuff that my daughter spilled on it.
It just means it's got flavor.
Yeah, exactly.
Got experience.
But yeah, so obviously the pose is the same pose as what Pat drew at the end of issue 1. So this was a pretty radical departure. Some notable things in this issue: the letters page finally gets a name for the first time in this issue. But obviously, behind the scenes, originally this was supposed to be the end of Spider-Girl as we knew it, and the beginning of Mayday Parker as Spider-Woman. Now, why is that? Well, Aranya had debuted around this same time in the new relaunched Amazing Fantasy. Now, Aranya was brought in with a lot of hype because she was really the kind of the first time we'd seen a Latina spider character. And so they were really trying to push this forward. Behind the scenes, they wanted to give Aranya the Spider-Girl name, but there was some pushback from the fans kind of seeing that this was the way things were going, and letters started being written. And things started happening as a result because people were like, hey, you know, in fact, there used to be a tagline on the message board, Mayday Parker is Spider-Girl, except no substitutes. Well, that was a direct dig at Marvel. So originally, the original ending was for her to take the mantle of, I'm no longer a girl, I am now a woman. This was revealed.
She a Britney Spears song? Sorry.
You know what? As soon as it came out of my mouth, my mind went there too. So
sorry, and I you know, again, free Britney. Britney should be free November 12th. Termination hearing. Woohoo! So, but that that I don't know. I guess the song's okay, but I don't really equate Mayday with Britney Spears.
Right.
Or the movie that song came from, which is Crossroads.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I love that movie. Don't hate on that movie. I mean, it's really bad, but
I know better than to hate on anything like Britney Spears related to you. Like I've learned this.
But no, it's a good bad movie, and they come from Georgia. Like her character's name is Lucy, and they're from Georgia.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Like
it's really bad, guys. Sorry.
It was an inoffensive movie. Like people can draw a dog on it or whatever, but it's like highly inoffensive. Yeah. I didn't hate it. I mean, look, God, dude, everybody in the early 2000s had a crush on Britney. Every guy, like but so anyway,
to get back. So this is where we are today. We're very popcorn.
We are very popcorn, and so again, behind the scenes, originally this was supposed to be her transitioning to the moniker of Spider-Woman. The Tom and Ron basically were like, "Why? That's the kiss of death."
Well, especially too, because I was gonna bring this up because I don't think I don't want to butcher her last name, but Carla. She writes Spider-Woman now, Carla Pinchito.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like apparently we've exchanged things like talks on Twitter because she's made a really valid point about please do not pirate your comics, especially when comics are struggling to make their quota, basically, like they're where they need to be. Because she, I think, has been doing a fabulous run on Spider-Woman, and I think this is one of the longest runs Jessica Drew has had in recent years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And see, that wasn't happening back then. Like, honestly, back in 2003, 2004, a female-led comic lasting as long as Mayday did was unheard of in either comics, because a lot of times, I mean, I think like the only thing that really rivaled it was like Birds of Prey,
and I think Wonder Woman.
Well, but see, even Wonder Woman. Well, yeah, Wonder Woman at that point, yeah.
This was before, Crisis.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I mean, like, there wasn't anything with Marvel. Like, technically, Spider-Girl is still, which no, Josh, we're not counting Patsy Walker. But without counting,
that's not the last Josh reference in this show.
It won't be. But yeah, so it's she's the longest running female led solo title that Marvel's ever had, like continuously. And honestly, if you count all of her books together, she's pretty up there. Like, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's still like I think She-Hulk got to 100.
Well,
if you did.
and then what was the weird math on, speaking of Jessica Drew, that the weird math that's like off by 12 issues, and I don't know where they're getting 12 issues.
Well, I mean, Marvel is not known for their magic math. I mean,
what? We say, how many times have we said math is hard on the show? Math is hard.
That's why I call it magic math with when it comes to Marvel, because like when they got to 800 on ASM, everybody's like, wait, we're counting the five issue miniseries of Renew Your Vows? But okay. Like, sure.
I mean, it's things happen, but anyway, in general though, she's still up there. Like, I'm pretty sure she is still she has the most issues in her name, like as a solo title, I believe, still.
Yeah, I don't think it's even close.
Yeah. I mean, at least by like a good 30 issues.
Yeah. So again, I'll have to look at the legacy numbering whenever they do eventually decide to do a She-Hulk series, because you and I both know with the Disney Plus series coming soon, they'll probably do it. But yeah, no. So obviously the page was supposed to be her, declaring herself as Spider-Woman, and at the 11th hour, it's not what happened. So with that history lesson out of the way, I can get into the breakdown.
Yes, you can.
So, all right. Spider-Girl 75. Team Spider is the name of the book, written by Tom DeFalco, art by Ron Frenz and Sabi Sima. This will be the team for all the issues that we covered tonight. This was cover dated for August 2004, released on 6/3/2004, June 6th, 2004, or June 3rd. Can't read my own writing. 2004. Our issue opens with May sparring with Elektra, who deduces that May and Peter are related because, well, they move like each other, talk like each other, and fight like each other. Retreat and attack, retreat and attack. While May remarks that she's more of a thinker and not a fighter, Elektra gives her a wake-up call by smacking her with the handle of a katana. Is that a katana? That's not a katana. Whatever, or sai. Yeah, it's a sai. Sorry. Yeah. So obviously Elektra got the win, and the two walk into the next room where we're surrounded by various, I call it Kirby gizmos, aka science and stuff. We are introduced.
Technically, it's more technological.
Okay, technological stuff going on. Like, it's all like maps and like computer stuff. Now, Venkman says I missed the breakfast scene. Oh, yeah. So our issue. Wait, did I completely just gloss over that one?
Wait, did you?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Venkman.
And normally I would have caught it, but
yeah,
busy.
We've been busy. All right. So the issue actually does not open with that fight scene. I'm sorry.
No.
There is I guess because the pages stuck together when I was reading this when I was doing my recap. So that's probably what happened.
It's the Gabby edit.
It's the Gabby edit. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Gabrielle. So the issue actually opens with Mayday kind of looking over her costume and how it's in tatters. She's still, having her doubts, and of course, then May goes downstairs where she's overhearing Peter and MJ, and so Peter's like, "Hey, the Black Tranchula is back in town," and so they're kind of talking back and forth. And Peter's like, "Look, she may have the powers, but she's been blessed with her mother's common sense." So, of course, May comes into the room, and she goes, "Why is everybody up already?" And MJ's like, "Have you met? I believe you've met your little brother, Benji, of course, because that's what babies do. They wake people up in the very early in the morning." So May's like, "I signed up for a morning exercise class," and Peter's like, "At a Midtown?" So, and that she's like, "This one's being held off campus," and so that's how we get the fight scene with Elektra. And of course, May is very impressed by all this tech that's got going on, and kind of a little slightly overwhelmed when she she takes off. I love this. This was one of my. I don't know why, but they've been fighting for 70 minutes, and so Elektra and her had, and so they're predicting May's next move. Of course, when she gets the win, Chesbro offers to get her a new costume, but May she decides to leave, and so funny. We see Black Tranchula watch her leave, and he's like, "I assume the Spider Girl has left." This made me laugh out loud again after reading it after having not read it for a while, because I'm like, "Thanks, Captain Obvious. Of course she left. You just watched her leave." So,
look, I don't know if you were able to glance over my notes, but like I have a lot of things to say about Fabian.
Yeah,
like a lot.
I did glance on those, and you've got a lot of things to say about Fabian. Like, I'm just gonna back off and be like, all right, I'm gonna let her go.
Just
Fabian. Oh.
Anyway, all right, continue.
So, Chesbro obviously questions her motives, but Black Tranchula is playing an old adage: "The enemy of my enemy is my friend." The next page, we have a man called Kodiak who is very zen. He acts very zen. He's a very zen type of person. He gets a call from Canis, and he's trying to restore balance to the Force, aka he's trying to, consolidate power.
Okay. Not everybody that chooses peace and enlightenment is a Jedi.
That's fair.
Okay. I mean, you said you weren't a Star Wars fan. We're literally going to read some emails where I literally sent a reply directly to you with it going, what does Vinkman mean that you don't like Star Wars? And now you're sitting here making a Star Wars reference.
Yeah.
You like Star Wars.
I don't hate Star Wars. It's just not like I'm not like super into the fan base. Like I've watched all the Star Wars movies. Okay, it's not like I've not watched them. It's just I haven't watched Solo. I haven't watched the Solo.
We're gonna get into it during the emails, but still, I'm just pointing this out.
Yeah, there's a bit of hypocrisy on my part.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, we go back to school. Normie calls Mayday on the way, but he doesn't respond, and she's a little worried. We see that Sandra's back with Howard. She remarks that everything's great and for May to mind her business. And that May can't explain her bruise very well on her cheek. This is from Elektra's, the sigh hitting her in the face. Cut to Kodiak, who seems to want to have a friendly conversation with some goons. I say that with all the sarcasm in the world. It does not go very well for the goons. Cut to the spider shop, where May is strangely dressed to conceal her identity, but she reveals, after kind of remarking and looking at that black suit, that she's made a decision. I would cue on.
It honestly isn't the weirdest she's looked in disguise.
That's true. That's true. The probably the weirdest one was the funeral scene a few issues ago. So, May thinks that Canis is going to hit Handsome Richie next, and she'd be right. So Kodiak shows.
Hold on.
Did I miss another scene?
Yeah, Vinkman's claiming that you missed a brief page with Canis and Lady Ock. But basically, if I'm not mistaken, on that scene, it's just them talking because she's they're kind of working together, which we'll see how that story unfolds.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I didn't include it because it's such a brief scene, and it's one of those things where because it kind of just ties into what things are said later. But yes, basically, Lady Ock and Canis are kind of going this tit for tat, going back and forth because Canis can't quite trust Lady Ock, and
why?
I wonder why. Yeah, I mean,
why?
So obviously, she's we're back to the spider shop, and he's like, Handsome Richie obviously knows that his money is his face. That's where all the money's made. Well, please don't punch him in the face. Anything but the face. He punches him in the face. So, of course, May shows up, and it's May. Of course, it's a direct homage to What If 105, aka Year Zero, and it gets the full splash page. She even says, "Face a tiger, you just hit the jackpot." Kodiak senses the conflict in May, and it looks like May a fight ensues, and there's a big back and forth. She's continuing to try to dodge, and she gets knocked into a bunch of tires. So it looks like May has been defeated. Thank you, wife. And so when May is defeated and Team Spider shows up, May tells him to tend to the wounded. She goes back to him. He remarks that the conflict is out of her hands and that the conflict has been removed from her and that she can die in peace. And she's like, die? Nobody said anything about dying. And so May hits him with some stingers. It really doesn't do much to her. And he keeps coming. Then she uses pieces of broken concrete and starts to smack him into next week. I mean, just really goes pretty brutal. Team Spider remarks that she did good. So, but she leaves the scene as they clean up, and she shows that she shows up back home. When she shows up back home, it's to the horror of MJ, who screams out loud. And the end for now. Should be a to be continued. Kelly, what are your thoughts?
Well, I know my offhanded notes I wrote. I'm still not over May calling Kodiak Boo Boo. So that's interesting. Also, really, I think my main thing here is just I see a lot of mirroring in the stories, although it's not like a direct mirror. With basically Black Tranchula kind of giving May all of this stuff and almost basically in his own way love bombing her, versus we're seeing Howard and Sandra in the very typical relationship abuse of the love bombing, where Howard is now trying to be the perfect boyfriend, etc., etc. And there's that weird mirroring there, especially when Sandra says hey, stay in your lane. And let's see, I guess the other one, I really do think that a lot of times we glaze over the fact that Elektra did train May for a few weeks, at least got her where she needs to be for some later issues. And that's kind of pretty cool, because I don't know how many superheroes can say that they've been trained by Elektra. Yeah. And then let's see, do I have any more notes? Not really. I mean, that's kind of, well, do I want to say it? Because I don't know if I want to say it, because I have a feeling someone's going to come back and be like, well, actually, this is why they didn't say anything. But I kind of feel a little weird about May picking the black suit and then freaking MJ out, because Venom, she fought Venom in issue 3. And I feel like after that happened, after Venom took over Peter's body and was that spider Venom in that issue, that they would have told her about Venom, or that she would have recognized the black suit as Venom. So I don't know. To me, that always felt a little bit weird, in this part of the story, but oh well. But yeah, that's really all I've got. I mean, this is a pretty straightforward story. So yeah, so while Zach is on the phone, what do you guys think about the issue? Okay. I must have glazed over the Fozzie. It was just the boo-boo that really struck out to me rereading this week. But yeah, Vinkman. She does. I mean, Kodiak is a bear, so. Okay, and Spider-Venom was issue 5, not issue 3. Thank you. Again, math is hard. And I didn't go back and double check that. I just knew that it was in one of our first episodes where we were talking about it. So yeah. So, alrighty. Okay. So. All right. So I'm going to quickly read over Zach's thoughts, see if there's something else that we can kind of talk about while he is dealing with, like I said, our busy things. But yeah, so did Zach say earlier what the letters page got? Because it was called Mayday
sorry
mailbox. No, you're fine.
So the Mayday's mailbox was the name of the letters page. Sorry, I had a crisis at home. So it says, hoo-ha, cue the band and begin the parade. Spider-Girl defied the odds and reached her 75th issue. Team and I would like to thank everyone who made this possible. That begins and ends with you, our loyal readers. We'd also like to publicly thank Jeffrey Jeffers Westoff, who suggested the winning name for our letters page. We have to confess that we enjoyed almost all the suggestions, and it wasn't an easy decision. Give yourselves a great big hand, people, and thanks for being there, Tom D.
Aww.
So that is directly from the issue itself. That's why I wanted to get the floppies, because I know that the letters pages are not in the deal. So.
They are not. But yeah, we actually spoke to Jeffrey.
Yeah, back on episode 1, 0, 1.
I don't know.
It's
math again. Math is hard. We can't count. It's okay.
We had issues with the counting. Sorry about that, guys. I have a dog that keeps getting in my backyard. We're trying to figure out what to do with him. So
okay.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well.
Anyway, but yeah. So, my thoughts are really brief.
Yeah. That was like the worst time because I'm like, I don't have a lot of notes for this issue because it's pretty straightforward building the story up.
Yeah, like to me, he's Kodiak's a kind of a generic brute, and I like that he fills the role of explaining the reader the conflict, and it's not done in a preachy way. It's done in a subtle way, and there's subtlety and art deftness to it. Otherwise, normally he would just be kind of like one of those generic things. So. Cover is nice. I like the cover. Knowing what I know now about that final page, originally was supposed to be, something completely different. The fact that they had to hastily make that, and then for them to, I said it should be a to be continued, but they put it in for now because literally we pick up right after that.
Yeah.
So, but that's, minor quibble, folks. But yeah, so let me do my, if you don't have anything really further to add to that, let's jump over to,
yeah, well, I guess like the only major thing that I had that I would like to see, just kind of pick your brain on, is the fact though that like, doesn't this feel a little bit crazy considering like she fought Venom previously? And so wouldn't she have known that this was going to freak her mom out? In a black suit, or like I kind of understand maybe she just wasn't thinking straight with everything else going on, but like, because it feels like Peter in the next issue doesn't even want to talk about it, like talk about why it freaks MJ out, and I'm like,
yeah, it's very dismissive, and I agree with that. It's funny because I you would think that after the whole Venom thing that there would have been a conversation being like, hey, let's explain Venom in pretty detail, but I think that to me it feels like slightly dismissing it here because obviously it's going to lead to bigger things later on. So I think that once they got I think
but even then it doesn't quite.
It's weird.
It's just something I noticed because it was like, wouldn't that have already, like, the conversation would have happened? Like, I can understand,
it being a while.
Yeah, and I can understand like May just not even thinking and going, oh, okay. Because remember too, this is something too, like they don't normally carry her size in those suits for some reason, and
we don't know why, but
not yet. We will later, but so, so for her to finally find something that does fit her in the store is also, I think, a major factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was double checking because I didn't bring issue 78. I for some reason left it back in Houston. But I remember in issue 78, the letters page actually said that they had been renewed officially.
Yeah. Okay.
So obviously with the 75th issue, they thought they were going to get renewed, supposed to be canceled, and then obviously 76 and 77 come out like, oh yeah, by the way, it's been renewed. And I think that's when things were like, oh, okay, we can start kind of playing with the black suit stuff.
Yeah.
There. So I think that kind of explains it more. I mean,
okay.
I get it. Like, Vinkman's bringing up a good point. He says, well, technically, didn't Spider-Venom look more like a monster version of Spider-Man than classic Venom? Maybe.
But it's still Venom. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing.
It's still the symbiote.
Yeah, and it's like, so basically the only thing that we have to go off on both of these issues is that essentially the only thing May really knows about Venom, honestly, is what her mother told her that she made MJ tell her, because originally Mary Jane just wanted to get on the phone with the Fantastic Five, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And didn't want May anywhere involved, and May was like, no, it took over Dad, I gotta go. Like, yeah. I'm doing this, I'm gonna go save him. Which, she did. So that's my thing, is that it just feels a little.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Like, it's what, like, I don't think that they would have just been like, no, you can't hear about it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just not, like I said, it's something that I was thinking about when I was rereading this, and I was like, that is a little odd.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of weird. But no, I completely understand. So, it kind of leads really kind of into the next issue. So issue 76 is called Keeping the Faith. Script, plot, and pencils are by DeFalco and Ron Friends. They give a artist emeritus tag, I did want to point out, to Pat Olive and Al Williamson. Sal Buscema does the finished art. Now, this was also during the period of time where we're starting to get these recap pages. Mm-hmm. For those that are not watching us on YouTube, go watch us on YouTube. But they're kind of giving the credits on these as opposed to in the actual blurb in the issue box. They're still doing that, like on the opening splash pages, but it's a little different. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, because we had kind of transitioned to that period of time. September 2004 cover date, released on July 8th, 2004. Our issue opens with MJ screaming from last issue. She screamed for 30 days. I'm just kidding. Benji, of course, starts freaking. That is horrible. I'm so sorry. Benji's freaking out. MJ thinks it's Venom. Remember, MJ still has issues with the black suit dating back to Venom's appearance in MC2. And notably, obviously, ASM 199 through 300. May rips her mask off, and Peter arrives and is taken aback at May's costume. May feels extremely guilty at this. She's asking what she's done. She thinks she's made a mess of things. So we then cut from there to Canis and Doc Ock continuing to discuss things, picking up from last issue. Ock wants names to prove that she is useful, but Canis still just doesn't quite trust her. Gee, I wonder why. May and Peter are. We cut back over to the house where May and Peter are talking, and Peter knows that something's up with May, and he's trying to fish, but May explains that she needed a new suit, and the black kind of sort of called out to her. And so Peter explains that MJ is freaked out by that suit for a reason, and just as May is about to pour her life out to Peter, MJ interrupts, and May just simply tearfully apologizes for everything. May is struggling with a bit of exhaustion, and she gets a call from June. Oh, is that the same scene? No, it's a different scene. So.
Well, yeah, it's a different scene, because this is where she. Yeah. So basically, she kind of stayed back with her parents for a bit. Probably, I would assume, Cherry Garcia, which sounds really good right now. I should have got some before we recorded. Bad on me. But and went to bed, and she missed her morning classes, and that's why June called. We also didn't go into the names of Team Spider, which are June and April.
Not that April. It's another April.
The first April the 1st.
April 1.
April the 1st. No, April the 1st. It's
April. Yeah, she's an April Fool's Day joke. I mean,
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so that's Team Spider. June is kind of more of the straight-laced, by the book person, and this April is very kind and kind of jovial and sweet, and really wants to be like May's friend, versus June keeping those strict coworker lines. So anyway, go on. Sorry.
I'm glad you explained that, because I kind of left that out in my notes. So yeah, May then has a look at her suits, and she decides that she's like, man, they're both trash. She can't really use them. She doesn't have masks that really work. She remarks, maybe, in a house full of Spidey suits, it would be useful to there would be enough to put together a suit. Meanwhile, we have Black Tranchula monologuing and playing chess with himself. That's me very much glossing over the Black Tranchula stuff. But yes, he's having a monologue, thinking about how Spider-Girl's going to portray her. It's a big giant splash page, really gorgeous splash page, by the way. He's talking with Sheshbro, and he's like, he's kind of giving the update that she missed her practice and maybe that she's having second thoughts. And, he's like, no, I have a plan that will draw her deep into my web by proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that our intentions are truly above reproach, which makes Kelly one of us.
Does.
So
I hate him. He just needs to keep his mouth shut.
He just needs to quit talking.
Yeah.
So he's back at school. Sandra gives the classic Betty Brant, Liz Allen, Silver Age icy speech bubbles, brushing May off. Courtney shows up shortly thereafter, and they discuss the situation with Sandra. And when May uses Moose as an excuse to kind of dodge the subject, because of course, she's trying to deftly move away from talking about Sandra to Courtney. And that's when Moose shows up. Moose is like, hey, there's your boyfriend. And so Moose is like, nah, I can't do anything right now. I'm busy. Let me holler at you later. Kind of brushes poor Courtney off. And just as Courtney's like, what was that all about? Just as she says that, then of course that's when May gets the phone call. And of course, she has to brush Courtney off, which May feels bad about, because she doesn't want to brush her friend off, but she's obviously got bigger fish to fry right now. So
this is also too, this is the start of something with Moose.
Yes,
later.
This is a start of a subplot with Moose.
Yeah.
Yes, good point, because there is a reason that he's brushing her off.
Yes, yeah.
So May is meeting June in an hour, and she knows she needs a suit. So what's a broke teen left to do? Ask for a loan, of course. She decides to improvise. She uses her dad's mask. She takes off towards Avengers Mansion. She's looking for Stinger. But, of course, Stinger's not available. Who is available is Jarvis. And
Jarvis would have the real money.
Right? She does talk to Jarvis, but she knows that she feels like she really can't ask him for help, because it would be super painfully awkward. So then she swings off.
She didn't think this straight, because Jarvis would know where Tony hides safety cash, because I'm sure there's safety cash in somewhere.
Yeah, and she is a reserve Avenger. She should have access to that money, right? But
well, no, I mean, I'm just saying that Jarvis could take Tony's.
He knows where all the stashes are in the safe.
Yeah.
So it's true. So of course May kind of embarrassingly runs away, because he's like, oh, and Jarvis is like, listen, I worked with Janet Van Dyne. The amount of costume changes that woman had, I don't even comment on that anymore.
I don't even think that's what he said. He said something. He said something about Stinger. It then made me think what is.
No.
Cassie been wearing?
No, he goes, I got the issue open right here.
Okay.
He goes, Spider-Girl, I see you modified your costume. She goes, what do you think? After a long association with the Wasp, I no longer comment on fashion.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know why I read Stinger. Now I'm like, is that did somebody change it in the digital version?
I don't know. Could be a, I don't know. I'd have to look. So then after an ad, in the floppy at least, not in the digital version, we then have, May gets a phone call and realizes that it's not who she expected it was. She thought it was supposed to be June. It was not. It was Uncle Kane. We don't call him Uncle Kane.
We don't call him that. No. It's weird. It's a weird. No.
You never like that. They used to use that phrase on the message board all the time.
No, yeah, no, but like in an actual breakdown.
That's true.
It sounded weird. It just sounded weird.
Okay.
There's jokes and there's like that just sounded weird.
Okay. All right. No more use of Uncle Kane in a breakdown. All right.
Not when you're being serious.
That's true. That's true. All right. So we see Kane and Dark Devil together? Question mark. Of course, May remarks that she thinks that they hate each other. And Kane, of course, is like, we really don't hate each other, but And he goes, wait, I recognize that mask. It's one of your dad's. That's right.
Because her eyes are more pointed.
Yes. I recognize the eyepieces. Yours are more pointed at the tips.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Kane acknowledging for the reader that there is a difference.
Something I keep pointing out. And
people don't always see. It's one of Kelly's pet peeves.
I mean, it only became a pet peeve after like I had to like design them and mold them.
And shape them and mold them.
And then people
kept saying it was wrong.
No one said it was wrong. It was just more, it's like people are like, oh, well, why can't I just buy these ultimate eyes or this eye? And it's like they look great, don't get me wrong. It's like it's not the same.
They're not the same.
It's not the same.
So they kind of question what's going on with her, of course, because there's rumors are spreading about her, and they're both kind of worried. Like
she's in literal rags.
Right?
I would be worried too.
Yeah, I mean, like, May, your costumes are looking a little ratty, then all of a sudden you went to this black and white number. Who's known for being in a black and white number? Black Tranchula. So, like cousins and uncles should be, right? So,
yeah.
May brushes that off, and she's like, and gets ready to leave when Kane shows her a picture of Elon and tells her that she needs to contact him as soon as he sees her. Of course, she's like, yeah, sure. I will certainly do that. Swings off. Yep. So, of course, Kane knows that she's lying. Because, like, Parkers are bad at lying, okay?
Yeah.
Let's be real. It's a fundamental flaw. Like, or not really a flaw, but, like, Parker's just bad at lying. That's why all the excuses that Peter makes when he's with Spider-Man are usually super hyper lame, because they're just not good at lying. So, and he's talking to Dark Devil, and of course, like, Dark Devil had just teleported out of there. He goes, no wonder she thinks we hate each other.
I mean, he was done.
He was done.
He's an attorney. We have no clue if he had a meeting.
Yeah, exactly. So I said he pulled a Batman and got out of there. So for those that don't know, like when Batman the animated series, like Gordon would turn around and he's gone. Just how it always goes. So the gentleman we saw earlier, aka Big Ben, he had been called by Canis trying to recruit him, and he's trying to run out some more recruits of the former Kingpin's lackeys to join Canis. Spider-Girl and her squad show up. And, a fight takes place. I don't know why I put fight takes part, but I decided to have a typo in there. June is leading the strike force, and so basically, like, May's like, listen, no fatalities here, kind of keep things on the up and up. So May and June start running towards chasing after Big Ben, and he's taken a hostage. That's right. So June has got the shot. She can shoot him, but May says no. Absolutely not. So May tries to reason with him, and May's like, no one dies on my watch. And, Big Ben's like, cheers. I applaud your gumption. But May then shoots some webs, is able to disarm the gun. However, my second Batman reference, the guy is also carrying an umbrella. It's not just any old umbrella, though. It is. He must shop at the same vendor as the Penguin because it becomes a shotgun.
Oh, no.
So
I don't think it's just the Penguin that has that, though. It was in a lot of wasn't it a lot of mod stuff?
You know what?
Vinkman would know.
Vinkman, you're a fan of that spy stuff. Let us know in the comments.
No, I mean he's just got good taste.
That's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, turns into a shotgun, fires at June. June gets hit. She's freaking May freaks out and smacks him to next week, hitting him, knocking him completely out, and basically, that's when the cops show up and they're like, "What is going on?" They're profoundly confused. Of course, May is tending to June. Things look pretty dire, and then when you flip to the next page, June will be fine. Seemed like her bulletproof vest took most of the impact. She's got some cracked ribs, and she's going to be out for a little bit. So Jespro asks, did the authorities, give you any problems? And then, of course, that's when she's like, hey, all the lawyers showed up, and they started being really super cooperative once the lawyers showed up. So, May has some concerns about Brodsky surviving in jail. Jespro says, look, the DA's already taken into account. He is in protective custody inside of jail. So it looks like things are going to be good. And so Jespro's like, hang on, there's one little last surprise. So April takes her to another room where this giant closet where there's a present from Black Tranchula. It's multiple costumes, both of the black and the classic variety. And so May's like, well, let's get back to work. All right. So
you had, hold on. You're not going to make the Power Ranger reference you had in your notes?
I'm about to. So Canis is unhappy once again, thwarted by the Power Ranger. Wait, no, he's been thwarted by Mayday. Sorry, I got Lord Zed vibes when I read this in my recap.
Which is weird because that's not the characterization I would put for him.
Well, he's a mastermind.
Yeah, but he's not Lord Zed level. He's.
I just remember Lord Zed.
Actually, he honestly feels far more grounded than Lord Zed.
He is more grounded than Lord Zed.
Yeah.
The whole thing where he's slamming his fist on the table, that's what got me Lord Zed vibes. Because I just remember as a kid, Lord Zed's constantly pounding on the balcony, and he's like, curses! Oh. The Power Rangers thwarted me. So, of course, just as he's about to slam on the table, Lady Ock grabs his arm, says, hey, listen, I'm over here. We've been we've been doing this tit for tat for a little bit. So, he's like, so be it. I'll finally give you all my information. And that is how the issue ends. But it is not the last page of the issue. In fact, even though it says the end for now, there is a backup page called Spider-Girl and Her Amazing Friends. It's a new feature where they do a profile of a specific character. And this one is Courtney.
Yay!
So also, minor note, the cover art for the next issue blurb is not correct. That is for 78. Because the next issue is this one, yes. AKA the very shiny cheesecake cover. I love you, Ron.
Well, I don't think it was that shiny before the colorist got to it.
That's true. If Anil was here, he'd be talking about the colors of the issue.
Okay, I actually like it. I like it with the silver. It's which we can get into. We should probably talk about this, and then we can talk about the cover for the beginning of the next issue about that silver, because I have a costumer perspective on that. I know how to get it. It just won't stay on the suit. So.
Right.
But anyway, also you're not going to talk about who was in the who was
Oh yeah. So I was going to do that more in my notes for the issue, but
you have it as a note above my notes, so I didn't know if you wanted to go first with that.
Big shout out to one of the people in the letters page.
Yeah.
A good old Julio Barone.
So I tried to fix it thinking that you like something weird happened to it, and I went to fix it until I read what you wrote later.
Yeah, so Julio Barone, aka Joshua Lambertoni, he has a letter in here, and so I'm doing I just finished doing my recap, and I literally saw his name. I saw that was his screen name on the message board. I said, "Oh look, it's Josh." To Josh, and Josh is like, "Oh God, what did I write? What did baby me write? I don't even remember."
Don't tell him.
Oh, he goes, "What was I thinking? Like, why did I write this letter?"
Okay,
in
fairness, me and him talking is what somehow transpired the Osborne thirst discussion. That is cursed. So
Josh is good at picking up on those little things and making them into a thing. See Brant, Betty for more information. But yeah, no, it was really funny. It's really it's so much fun to go back in these letters pages and see the various names.
We might need to do like a bonus episode after the end of the original run and just pick our favorites and maybe just record us reading them so they are permanently on the internet forever.
Yeah, because honestly, you don't get these letters
on digital.
On the digital copy.
We're not going to if you get we're not going to do every one of them because but
that would take like 4 hours.
Yeah, no, we should pick especially ones from people we know.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I think yeah, no. Oh no, John, our friend John. Yeah. He's in the next issue. So
nice.
John from the first when we talked
from the message boards, yeah.
From the message board, yeah.
R.I.P. message board.
R.I.P.
All right, so yeah, so my notes is just
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is kind of where my rant is, which y'all saw my face for our audio only listeners. I guess this is where I have to explain. I made a lot of faces during Zach's breakdown on this, but Fabian's ominous, creepy, draw her into my web, expect us to change her more crap really freaks me out. And like the older I get, the more sinister and almost honestly realistic that is, because like I said earlier about the and I even write it in here, it's not a direct mirror with Sandra and Howard, but it's very clear that what Black Tranchula is doing is love bombing Mayday and love bombing Spider-Girl.
Yeah.
With all this help, and he might tell Chesbro that it's the enemy, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but he has other ulterior motives that we'll go into that makes this really creepy and weird. And
that if you know the history of the character from like the Spider-Man run, it makes sense. Like
it doesn't matter if it makes sense. Like, yeah, it makes sense. It's a part of the character. I'm not saying that. It's just in general of it is disgusting, honestly.
Yeah, it is, like, especially I didn't catch that obviously when I read this as back before, but now as adults we're going, oh
yeah. And see, here's the thing too, and I think I'll go into it later because like I said, I keep peppering these things in, but like it's fresh in my brain on like Fabian is gross. And I know I've been saying that every single time he showed up prior, but this is the story as to why. But the thing is like I said, like he's lavishing all these things on a May with an intention that we yet really know, just beyond he's using her to get Canis off the streets. And it really just kind of brings home how sinister it is. Obviously, we're going to talk about it a little bit more as his intentions become clearer. And the thing I want everyone to remember too, because I'm sure someone's going to pop in and be like, well, he doesn't know everything. He had Chesbro and this spider team literally following her. They knew that when she was at school. They knew when to call her, when not to call her. They were tagging her, and they know exactly who she is, how old she is, and what's going on with her.
Yeah.
This isn't like he isn't aware, because he'll even say later to Kane he wants to know everything about her. So he's done his research. He is stalking her.
Yeah.
Like, he knows who she is and how old she is.
Because in his mind, he wants to create a superior version of Black Tranchula.
Look, we're gonna get into it.
Oh yeah, but
just anyway, these are very sinister lines, which struck me because, like, I know I've reread this multiple times, but like, it's weird because, like, whenever I write my breakdowns or I'm thinking of my notes, I constantly am thinking about the first time I read this. And the first time I read this, and I can remember picking these up, I was 13. I didn't catch this, but I wouldn't have caught that from most media, because most media doesn't tell you this. And so now, as someone who is recently 31 and has dealt with certain aspects of, like, love bombing and this kind of situation, even though, like, it's right now, it's not a direct mirror, because, like, May is not falling for this crap at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's still it's got a very, like I said, it's very sinister. It's very dark. But yeah, so that's my little beginning of the Fabian rant, because that's pretty much all of this episode is probably just gonna be me saying Fabian is gross and Black Tarantula is gross. Yeah. So
all right, so we can jump over. I don't have a ton to add.
The internet is dying.
To that, I with the MJ stuff. I think that was very deftly handled, and considering that I really you can't help but appreciate that we can dovetail this in the next, where the run just works because they do work together so well that they can come up with something that makes sense for the overall narrative. The other thing I want to point out is I love this cover, but May's legs should be opposite with the way the perspective is. Did I lose Kelly? She froze. Oh no. So I think I lost Kelly.
Hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, I was telling you, yeah, because somebody's internet was cutting out. So I clicked, I thought it was me, so I troubleshot, and so it reset my Wi-Fi real fast. Sorry.
Oh, my internet started cutting out. Oh, great.
So it wasn't me.
Okay, it wasn't me. So did everybody hear what I had to say?
I heard bits and pieces. So
okay, so I won't repeat.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, feel free to repeat, because I only heard bits and pieces, so
yeah,
I can't riff off of it.
I mean, I don't have much more to add to this issue. I thought I was pointing out the mirror image that was supposed to be on this cover, though, is a little off. But I've always liked this cover. I've really liked this cover. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So the legs would be different.
Oh, well. Look,
but no,
it's fine.
It's fine. I love Ron. Don't get me wrong. I just was pointing that out because somebody pointed that out to me, and then I couldn't unsee it. So now you can. It's
the beginning of Into the Spider-Verse.
There you go.
Just didn't know. See, Dan Slott didn't create that.
No, it was John Semper. Anyway, that's a whole nother.
We'll get into that later too, but that is way down the line.
Oh, eventually there will be. I got to get him on for an interview. I just have to, because I got questions. Anyway, issue 77. John Semper, not for the Spidey experience.
Yeah.
Obviously gorgeous black, fantastic cover. It is. It's a gorgeous cover.
No, it is. It's just it's more of me sighing out of frustration because a lot of people have done like homemade the black suit using silver like spandex over it. Grace did so beautifully, where she literally hand sewed her costume. I tried doing this in a more like movie-esque manner, and I tried to do the polyurethane and try and get it like in silver mica, or maybe even like chrome plated. Like I had all these ideas. The issue at hand is I was straight up told when I was talking about polyurethane from someone who was on set during Captain America Civil War and was in charge of the Spidey suit that we've seen off-set photos that are clearly not the final design for this reason in particular, is the polyurethane, even if you sew it, even if you glue it, it does not stay onto spandex. So
that makes sense.
If someone can figure out how to create a metallic look like that cover without using polyurethane, where it would stick to your body as you moved, because that's the issue.
Right.
I would love to know, but I have not been able to figure that out. And I take solace in knowing that neither has wardrobe of Marvel Studios.
By the way,
they mocap everything.
Right. But the fun fact about that suit is, as a Marvel Legends fan, I can make this reference. They did a 3-pack of Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Captain America, and the design of that particular suit with the polyurethane, the way the spider was and everything like that, was what they used for the Marvel Legend. So
yeah, well, because literally up until filming, like that was going to be the suit. It's just somehow, for some reason, in post CGI work, it got tweaked a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't dislike that.
Yeah, no, it's just a thing. I know, because people will start getting all on like how that was a great suit. Why didn't we get that suit? The webbing was literally falling off anytime someone moved in it. So
you can't. And if there's one thing you can't have, it's webbing falling off of the suit. Okay, that's one of the reasons I think they ended up doing like the raised webbing on the raised films. It was kind of a practical thing. So
well, that too. I mean, I could go into all that because that's a little bit. It's basically puff paint, like
right.
So
we'll have to do like a cosplay episode where it's like, do you guys? I'll just sit back and just be like, and just like let y'all go into the cosplay stuff, because like I would actually be listening intently because I would like to get into cosplay, but I also have a house and bills that I gotta pay first. So it is. Vinkman does say something apropos. Kelly, your black costume is pretty spectacular.
Thank you. I still need to get better photos in it because it's cursed in and of itself. Anytime I try to get like professional photos, I never see the photos.
It's like it's so good that they can't send you the photos.
Yeah, no, just something always happens and then never works out. So anyway,
all right, issue 77, because
yeah, we're like I said, it's popcorn hour.
It is popcorn. We're super sorry. It's not been what our intention was. So, a taste for treachery, and I had started working on my recap, and then I ran out of time. So, this is the last recap for me on the night. So, just giving everybody heads up. All right, so we opened with I called it the most cheesecake cover of the series. To me, it is okay. I know where you just.
Well, no, I mean, my thing is just like the one where we talked about it last ish, the last issue where it's very reminiscent of it's just a very straight web she hangs off of. Anyway.
That's very true.
Anyway.
The issue begins with, after we open up the cover, the issue begins with May having a nightmare. A literal floating head of guilt detailing the events of last issue where June got shot. Of course, May awakens to this, and she's contemplating things when suddenly she realizes, as she goes downstairs, that Peter's there. And he's deciding to make coffee for his kiddo to help her get going. Remember, the excuse was she has this exercise class that she's going to at 5:30. And so they kind of have a heart to heart, and he's like, is there anything I can do to help? And she goes, actually, there is. So meanwhile, we cut over to Lady Ock, continuing to now actually in active recruiting mode. We have Canis, and we kind of talk about how he's dreamed about being the new kingpin of crime, and that his fate rests on the laurels of Lady Octopus. And so Lady O is talking to Mr. DeWells, and they're having breakfast and coffee, and she's like, listen, if you want to know more about this Canis character, you've got to come to this big meeting. We're getting everybody together so you guys can determine that this is going to be a good thing for your organization moving forward. So, he's kind of skeptical, but he's like, he agrees. Cut over to the training. Once again, we have Elektra training with Mayday. This time, Mayday is blindfolded and uses her spider sense to jump through in a really cool situation where Elektra throws a bunch of razor-sharp throwing stars at her, because Elektra, she goes full hog when she's training somebody. Elektra's trying to get her to move fast, does not get a single nick. May is very excited, very jubilant over it, and Elektra's trying to quell her excitement about the fact that she didn't get nicked. So we then cut to June and Cespero. They're working in the at the headquarters, and June is April. I said June. I'm sorry. It's April. June's the one that's injured. Yeah. April is kind of doing some tactical stuff, and but she's like, hey, June can we can dispatch June. She can start leading the team, and Mayday kind of emphatically says no. She needs to rest. Her own guilt kind of eating at her. So May then suggests to Cespero, hey, don't send out June. Send out Black Tranchula, because he goes, how do you know my master's in town? She goes, call it a hunch. Of course, Cespero's like, listen, she's going to betray you, dude. Fabian's like, of course, I always assumed that was her intention, because I'm making plans on plans. I'm keep playing chess. There's a lot of chess pieces and a lot of visual imagery with him and chess pieces.
I mean, yes, but also we can just say he's dumb. I prefer that.
He is dumb,
but he's not. He's really not dumb. He's actually very.
And correct me, I'm not super into chess, but if you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, because I know people are following along with us as we're doing this. But he's got the queen and the king, I think, in each hand, and he crushes them both. Either it's the queen and the I don't know. There's two specific pieces. I think there's.
While you talk, I will go back and I will double check that. I believe so. But two, if that's the case, there's that feels a little like symbolism and foreshadowing towards other intentions with him.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking. So we cut back to school where May and Courtney are kind of talking back and forth, and she's like, look, something's wrong. And May's kind of in and out, and she's like, do you think Moose is seeing someone else? And they're kind of talking about what is he hiding, and May tries to quell her fears a little bit, and so May sees Howard and Sandra canoodling in the hallway, and So May kind of says, hey, let me go take care of this. Courtney, seeing the situation, is like, look, you obviously need to go take care of this.
My heart broke for poor Courtney.
I do feel bad for Courtney because, like, May really, in this issue, really brushes her off. We have Davita in the background going, what is happening? May's continuing to try to talk to Sandra. Sandra, of course, brushes her off. And May is trying to talk sense into Sandra. She's trying to be a good friend. And so Sandra kind of makes the point, haven't you ever taken a risk on somebody that's, or something you believe in?
It's such a bad,
it's a bad take. I'm not going to lie.
Well, okay. It is a bad take, but when you're a teenage girl and you're dealing with this, it's most definitely that line of thinking. Like, this is a very realistic conversation. It's just, it's such a, this is how this is how deep in the rabbit hole Sandra is right now.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. Because she is eating up this love bombing because, she's been so emotionally starved by Howard. So anyway, sorry. I could go into all of that, but
it's obviously the Sandra Howard thing is obviously an ongoing subplot.
It is.
But they continue that'll permeate throughout these next several issues. But May's phone then of course goes off. That's when Chris tries to come in and tries to be like, hey, let's do something, get together.
Meanwhile, since it is in my notes and I didn't have my floppies when I was doing this, is Chris's hair white, almost silver in there?
It's pretty blonde.
But no, is it blonde like it normally is, or is it straight up? It looks like it is lack of color because in the digital version, it doesn't look like it has color.
Okay, and you're talking about the middle panel.
There's two. It's two panels on that page.
Yeah. So okay. It kind of looks a little like that. It looks very faint. For those.
No, that's what I'm saying. Digitally, it's not there. It's literally looks like there was no color placed, especially compared to other issues.
That's weird.
I'll show you behind the scenes later, and maybe we can post it. But it looks weird, and that's what I was trying to figure out. Is I don't remember seeing that before.
Yeah, whenever that is weird. No, that's it's very clearly blonde in the actual original issue. So that's kind of funny.
Hold on, I'm gonna send it to you while you're talking.
Yeah, yes.
I just wanted to bring it up since you're kind of doing breakdowns live. I just wanted to throw that out there. But I noticed that, and that was weird to me.
It is very weird. Of course, May has to take the call. Chris kind of gets the hint. He's like, listen, we'll get together later. So really brief aside. So it's not June. It's not who she thinks it is. It's Kane and Dark Devil once again. So, Kane's kind of talking about how Canis is getting ready to make his power play. They also believe that Black Tranchula is going to hijack the proceedings. So, May's like, isn't your guy mainly focused on the international, person, not the local person? But Kane is trying to warn her, saying, look, his orders are to bring back Tranchula in dead or alive, and the lawyer in the room goes, didn't you join this to atone for your past crimes? So Kane makes a comment saying it's not murder if it's sanctioned by the government.
I have a rant on that.
God.
Okay. It's still murder, even if you're not convicted.
It's still murder. So, Mayday's like, you guys are serious. You really killed Black Tranchula without a second thought. And basically Kane is, telling her, I've got a job to do. Stay out of my way. So Dark Devil actually doesn't nope out of here this time. Yeah. He actually says, you shouldn't be surprised. Kane, is all sorts of cuddly now, but his history. Come on. He's trying to talk sense into her and say, stay out of the line of fire. And so May's like, look, Dark Devil, I may need a favor. So tense conversation. A few minutes later, we jump over and May's kind of swinging around. One of my favorite like little mini splashes of May in the black costume. I really like that. So, April's still trying to get a nail on this location. So she's looking up an old friend where she goes to see handsome Richie Valentine, who isn't quite as handsome as he used to be because his moneymaker got rearranged last issue, and he is
apparently it's so bad plastic surgeon can't save him.
Yeah, I was gonna make that note. Apparently it's so bad that the plastic surgeons can't help him. So he's like, he wants Canis dead, and, will you make him dead for me? But of course Mayday's like, look, I'll put him in jail for the rest of his life. I will do everything I can to fix this. So of course we get to the big meeting. It's at the docks. Looks like everyone's there. And Lady Ock is like, why is there hesitation? So apparently they sent the lieutenants, not the actual mob bosses. And he's a little irritated because he's like, I can't present my case to the underlings. I got to present it to the bosses. And so, Lady Ock's like, well, sorry, I did what I could for you. And she just is like, I'm going to nope out of here. So she starts taking her leave. That's when she runs into Mayday. So that's when the start fights. So that's when she basically this is where we find out that Lady Ock double-crossed Canis and he's about to get pummeled. Turns out that she was, we'll get to that in a second. So we cut to the boat show where the actual crime lords are actually meeting because that's
at the boat show.
At the boat show. At the boat show, they're meeting. It's Black Tranchula.
Muses me to no end. All right,
it anyway. does really amuse me. And so basically, Black Tranchula is making his case. Basically, Black Tranchula is using Lady Ock as a proxy. So if you haven't gotten that, then it'll become a little bit more explicit here in a second. So the underlings are, about ready to take out Canis when suddenly Mayday saves the day. So this is the second time she has saved Canis from getting killed because of his own stupidity. So
are you sure it's not 3 times now?
It may be 3 times. Yeah, you know what? It may be the 3rd time.
I think it's the 3rd time. Yeah.
You would think he would start getting the hint that she doesn't really want him to die. Okay, because he even incredulously, he's like, "Why did you save me?" And she's like, "Dude, spider on the chest. Like, hello." So
yeah, I mean, at this point, I just assume he has a death wish. So.
Of course, May didn't come along because it looks like they're outnumbered. The odds are against them. But when the warriors show up, of course, Buzz is like, "Hey, why are we protecting the wanted felon?" But then
the best callback to the last time we saw the Buzz, where he was tailing May.
Peter.
Well, tailing Spider-Girl, and now thinks that Spider-Girl is a cop.
Yep. And so Buzz is like, "Always happy to serve, ma'am." Which Lady Ock's like, "Ma'am."
It wasn't Lady Ock. It was
Lady Hawk. I'm sorry. Lady Hawk.
Yeah.
Tongue got twisted there.
What?
Lady Hawk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, May's like, "Hey, I gotta go attend to this." We cut back to the boat show. Apparently, the presentation was, absolutely phenomenal because they're getting a standing ovation, and that's when we see backstage when Black Tranchula is. Who's backstage with Black Tranchula? Lady Ock, and so, she's like. Lady Ock's asking, what's your interest in Spider-Girl? He goes, "I see great potential in her. I made significant investment in her because I'm confident that I'll get her into the organization." Not realizing that she's here. A little spider told her this time, and that she's like, "You've got the wrong girl." So just outside, we have Kane's strike team the strike force, about ready to infiltrate. And so this is where all the parts are leading up to. And basically, Raptor's like, what are we going to do about Spider-Girl if she's somehow connected to Tarantula? Kane's like, if she's hostile, we'll take her out. To be continued. Our one-page splash for the Amazing Friends backup is Moose Mansfield. So he is the one with the character spotlight this time. And as I mentioned, John was the one that got has a letter in there. And actually, in this issue, the next issue blurb is correct.
It's correct.
Yeah. So that is issue 77. Kelly, what's your thoughts?
Okay, so while I do my thoughts, check out what I screenshot. Because I sent you the screenshot from 79 and the one that I'm talking about where it's like literally void of all color. I just want to know if that's how that is in print as well.
No, it's not that way. I'll post this.
Okay, so that's why is that just digitally? It's
that
very
is
weird.
Weird. It is very
weird. Anyway, okay, so really my thoughts, like I have a whole thing about like how my heart broke for Courtney, because poor Courtney is like actually very worried about what's going on with Moose, and May is not really listening. Like I get she's dismissive just because Moose would never like go for run around on Courtney like that, but Courtney needs a friend to talk to, and May really blew her off here. So I felt really bad. And I felt really bad because Courtney then like diminished herself, going, oh, yeah, Sandra needs you more. And I'm like, that's sad.
Chris was our Ned Leeds. The colorist had no idea of Chris's hair color, and neither did I.
Maybe that's why it's void of color. But no, that's the whole situation. Is apparently his hair was colored in print, and somehow digitally they removed it, and I'm very confused.
Like I say, I will take it. I will have it.
Yeah,
I'll do a side-by-side comparison. So
okay, yeah, it's I noticed it and I was like, something's off about this, and I don't know why. So anyway, and then yeah, and then like I said earlier, like we should probably tell Kane it's still murder when it's sanctioned by the government. It just means he probably won't get prosecuted. Like it's still murder.
It's still murder, Kane. Like,
still murder.
Murder is murder. Like if you kill someone, it's going,
yeah.
Bad things are going to happen. Obviously, hi Ron. He was the one.
Hi. Yes.
That comment. So, hello to the Mr. Ron Friends, artist of this issue.
Yes. Like I said, it's just I'm glad I'm not going crazy that it's
you were
literally different. Yeah.
You were not.
And I'm also wondering if it's different, like if this is some weird thing from when they updated too, because I don't remember that before either. Reading it on the app.
Maybe they had to redo everything. I don't know. Ooh, that's what
I'm saying.
I really wish we could get the unlimited people on because we just got a million questions.
A million complaints. What are? I
wasn't going to say complaints.
They're not complaints. They're not complaints. They're just
critiques.
Critiques and justice for J2.
Justice for J2 hashtag.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So do you have any extra thoughts on this issue? Or is your mind blown from what I showed you? Because that's pretty much all of my notes was that coloring.
Listen, I do also feel bad for Courtney. I really like the way everything's set up. I liked because you don't know what the favor was from her dad, and I love how it's all the way to the end of the issue, and you're like, oh, that's what the favor was. Mm-hmm. And so, really, and the way that she's using her resources that she has to fight back, and it really does set up very well for 78. And so, yeah, I'm good with that. That's really more or less my notes. Kelly, right. You're going to do the breakdown for 78 and 79.
I am. Yep. All right. So, this issue is called "The People Played by Games." Is what I wrote. Is that right?
I don't have this one in my hand, so.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna say that that's right.
I left this one back in Houston.
That's fine. All right, so I'm just gonna read my breakdown because apparently the way I wrote this was very. I did not clean these notes up at all today. All right, so I wrote, great. Lady Ock has been working with Black Tranchula this whole time, with Black Tranchula distracting and basically trying to sell himself to Spider-Girl, keeping her distracted while he took care of Canis. Good thing it didn't quite work, but this isn't really a good look, especially when Fabian thinks he can talk his way out of this one. He tries to play on the whole, you were going to betray me too, but I kept this up because I have this fascination with you. We are destined to be more. And here's where I just get another rant, where this is a grown man who clearly, again, knows who Spider-Girl is, since he had his minions stalk her earlier. Why are you messing with my notes?
I'm not intentionally. What did I do?
Okay. You messed with it. Anyway, hold on.
I got
See,
it.
now I'm lost. All right. Sorry, guys. This is.
Sorry, I have my notes on
episode.
my iPad. I have my notes up on my iPad.
Yeah, no. Such a great episode. And no, you're fine. All right. So, anyway, Black Tranchula knows she's underage, and so it's weird. Like I was like, is he really trying to play this game? This is gross. So Kane and co. show up, and Kane orders Raptor to go after Lady Ock, and then both Black Tranchula and Kane tell Spider-Girl to follow the girls. Ew. So anyway, poor Raptor is clearly not confident in apprehending Lady Ock, and Ock makes some quick work of Brenda and gets her in her grasp, but thankfully Spider-Girl comes in and frees her. Spider-Girl's a lot more outwardly confident towards her fight with Lady Ock, but even she knows this like no good horrible day that is just getting worse. Like, she's not very confident internally about this fight. She's never really won against Lady Ock before, but hey, there's a first time for everything, right? The Spider Team and Chesbo realize the gig might be up as they get to the docks to find the new warriors, but not Spider-Girl, and find out she's at the convention center, aka the boat show. We cut back to the boat show. Black Tarantula tries to smooth with Kane, but Kane really isn't having any of it. They keep fighting as Black Tarantula asks why Kane cares for Spider-Girl so much. Fabian is kind of set on finding everything out about her because future generations depend on him finding a mate. And again, this freaks me out. Yuck. Ew. Gross. Meanwhile, another yucky conversation is going on as Elan is trying to convince Normie to stay married to her, even though I don't know how that was legal at all. Elan tells Normie that her father was a loyal disciple of Normie's grandfather, and Normie makes an offhand comment that it sounds like her father is in some kind of cult, which Elan just straight up admits to and explains it's the Order of the Goblin, and she throws on her mask, which is a wonderful goblin mask with very, very big ears. And Normie is freaked because that's honestly the most logical reaction to that. And Elan, in her goblin best, tells Normie the time has come to formalize their union, which sounds terrifying. Yuck. Back at the boat show, Lady Ock literally throws a yacht, and it hurts Brenda. Which we'll talk about. I guess Brenda did get hit by a yacht, right? Because I'm going to bring this up in the next issue, too. But anyway, she gets hit and falls down. Black Tarantula and Kane are still fighting, and while Black Tarantula tells Kane to give it up and just stop the fight, Kane spits on him, and Fabian basically just surrenders to needing to kill Kane. So as he pummels Kane, he tells him that it's inevitable about him being with Spider-Girl, which again, gross. Back with Lady Ock, Raptor, and Spider-Girl. Spider-Girl decides enough is enough of Lady Ock pulling these crazy stunts and hurting others like she just did with poor Raptor, swallowing her own intimidation and fear. She uses what she learned from training with Elektra to good use. She blindfolds herself to rely only on her instincts, and that way the tentacles can't anticipate her moves to and she can use her spider sense to guide her and react to throw off said tentacles. So she starts to scare Lady Ock, who really didn't see this coming, and like Spider-Girl says, that's just the biz, and it's a Spider-Girl world. So May breaks the terrible I wrote terrible, but a tentacle contraption, and knocks out Lady Ock with just a slap. Black Tranchula claps, impressed, as he was watching on. But Spider-Girl really isn't here for it. She's wondering just how many people in Black Tranchula's game that were just toys for him, and like, what is his real deal? What is going on? He basically doesn't give her a direct answer, but says he has these great plans for her and their future. Which again, I wrote yuck. So come off it, dude. In my notes. So Spider-Girl basically says, save the mind games, get off of it, dude. And advises that she knows he was playing everyone to become the new Kingpin, but now she's going to have to take him in. And basically he's got to go to jail. She'll find, because she's going to find a way to beat him down and, you know, eventually get what she's after, which is him being apprehended. And so Black Tarantula just says he's surprised she hasn't asked about Kane, which May, too trusting, believed him on his word and trusted him. And so Black Tarantula just kind of chooses to surrender to Spider-Girl to achieve his ultimate goal with her, which, again, ew. Spider-Girl ducks out when the police and paramedics get to the boat show and find that Team Spider has cleared out, but Chesbro left her flowers and a closet full of costumes. Black and classic. May asks herself if after all of this and her walk with the dark side, can she just go back to being the friendly neighborhood web crawler? Only time will tell as she yells out a hearty Yahoo in her classic red and blue, swinging into the night. What lovely splash page is not the end, though. As she's cutting loose, she tries to call Normie again, and Alon picks up. Uh-oh. She won't put Normie on the phone as he's tied up, quite literally. And Alon advises that they're going to renew their wedding vows, which feels very sudden. Yikes. And that is the end for now. So, Zach, what are your thoughts? Because you did not write any.
Yeah, I know. It's my fault.
No, it's all good.
One, that big final splash page where Mayday is, you know, the big, that is actually a direct homage to ASM 252, the issue which introduced the black costume in Spider-Man. So a little fun tidbit there. That is a homage or a swipe. Some people call it a swipe. But you can't really swipe yourself.
It's not real.
Yeah, like a swipe is like, yeah.
Yeah. Not quite a swipe, but it is a callback.
It's definitely a callback. For those that are in the know, you know. Yeah. So love this issue. I like how the resolution to this ongoing plot, because obviously this Lady Ock stuff has been going on for now what, 8 or so issues. Great long form storytelling. She's been this nemesis for May. May finally overcomes this obstacle. She beat her like what, 4 or 5 times leading up to this. She comes in, she decisively has a victory over Lady Ock. It's really, really well done storytelling here. The artwork, I'm not just saying this because Ron's in the comments. I'm saying this because it is great. Ron does a great job here in this story. Great job with the emotion. Great job that May did ultimately beat her by outthinking him. He does the one thing that you don't expect him to do, which was surrender.
Why are you misgendering Lady Ock?
I sorry, I was thinking about Black Tranchula and Lady Ock. I got.
Okay. I was like, wait.
She defeats Lady Ock.
Yeah. Yes.
And does it using her wits, using her instincts, which, if you know the history with Lady Ock,
but also uses the help that she received.
Right. Which is, again, there's layers to it, because the help that she received ultimately defeats his ally. So that really goes to show that his true intentions were to try to persuade her to settling down.
Stop.
And
phrasing bad. Ew.
I know it's bad.
She's a child.
Yeah, but I hate that I'm having to take this devil's advocate with Fabian. But as what's on the page, this is a boy who literally...
He's not a boy.
No, hang on. When he was a boy, he was taken from his mother at like age 10. And so he has been conditioned into becoming Black Tranchula his entire young life. Now, we don't know what happened to his dad.
I'm aware. I'm aware of his origin, which we should probably put this. We do need it in here more than likely, for a new reader, someone who's using our wonderful breakdowns to get the gist of the story. But I just the thing is that he is a grown adult here in this world.
It still is icky, because it is the fact that he is a 20-year-old man, a grown adult, who is now taken over his criminal empire, his father's criminal empire. So the Black Tranchula mantle is something that's passed down from generation to generation. It comes across as the person is immortal, but it's kind of like the Phantom. It's passed down from generation to generation. The mantle of that particular character. It's very similar here with Black Tranchula, except he's a crime lord. And they've been ruling the South American continent for a long time. And obviously they were getting into Europe too. So, Fabian was taken from his mother, who was friends with Mary Jane. When they were going to college together. And so Fabian was taken from, I think he was like 6. His dad's organization comes and retrieves him, just have him begin his training and stuff like that. So that's where that comes from. That's where his motivation comes from, for those that don't know, because otherwise it really is super icky on the surface. If you do know
on the surface,
hang on, even if you do know, it's really icky.
Well, even if we throw the whole age thing aside, the issue is that at no point in time is he ever thinking about her autonomy. Or thinking about maybe she just doesn't like him like that. There is no discussion. There is no talking about it. He just says, I like her. I want her. I'm going to love bomb her. And she's going to submit to me, which is very icky.
It's very, very misogynistic.
Yeah.
And
to say the least, it's toxic.
Yeah. It's toxic. It's toxic. It's toxic misogyny at its worst.
I mean, misogyny is toxic, period.
That's true. Yeah, but it's extra toxic, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know.
Well, what I'm trying to say, he is very clearly misogynistic, period. But we even saw there's little bits of that with Cain, and that's just the culture, especially during the time that these are written. a lot of pop culture is a little bit misogynistic. We've had these conversations before. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm trying to state that, like, this is beyond that. Like, this is so like the new Twitter thing is red flags, like showing like what is a red flag phrase to you, and like quoting it and then having all the red flag emojis. I could literally just take this entire issue and everything that Fabian says and just put up red flags. In fact, honestly, I'll probably do it. I think
follow her on Twitter at
Frogoat, yeah, I think Frogoat will appreciate the A+ level meme that is there. Which also there is a Reddit page called Mayday Memes that you can throw up your
r/Mayday Memes.
Yeah. So there's also that. But yeah, so that's kind of my thing, is like, it's a very disgusting and twisted viewpoint that like, even I keep bringing up the age, but that's just because that's the most obvious and unfortunately seems to be a thing in May's life with these older guys. But it's a lot of it's the way Fabian just assumes that he can have everything he wants if he throws enough money at it.
And unfortunately, that's, yeah.
Well, I mean, like, let's throw enough money at it, but also too, it's like he thinks as long as he doesn't give up, he'll just get what he wants, which, yeah, but that doesn't work with people.
Yeah. It only works. Yeah, it's true. So yeah. I don't have a ton to bounce off of because I wanted to let and here's Vinkman in the comments with all the red flags. Black
yeah.
I don't have much to add on that. Like I say, it's really a great issue. Great callbacks. I think though you'd had one more thing you were going to say about the splash page.
Oh yeah, well it's that homage splash page really did look like that would be the end of the issue. So if you're the first time reading this, you wouldn't expect the Elan wrap up. Yeah. And then of course, my last line in my notes is Black Tranchula is gross.
That's true.
It's just, we're gonna keep saying that.
That's true.
Anyway.
All right, so we get to our final issue of the night.
Yes.
79.
Yeah, so When Destiny Calls, it's December 2004. It was released October 6, 2004. And Elan has taken Normie to some bunker warehouse thing to show him this big green vat of goblin goo, telling Normie it's their future, and once she forces him into it, he'll finally have his birthright. Normie reasonably calls her crazy multiple times in that one page and reminds Elan that it'll only be a matter of time before Spider-Girl looks for him, realizing Elan kidnapped him. Elan brushes this off, saying Spider-Girl thinks they've eloped and is probably too busy playing hero to really think about him being kidnapped, which is kind of true, actually, because May is feeding her baby brother. A heroic feat, if there ever was one. May feels pretty good. She's anxious to reconnect with her family and friends after everything that just wrapped up the last issue. But she's weight has been lifted off her shoulders, so she's in a good space until she gets to school. And which, Zach, you didn't bring it up, but a few issues back, there's a little throwaway line about how she was surprised by a pop quiz in science and knows she didn't feel good. It was back when she was like going to the spider shop to buy the black suit.
Oh yeah, that's from issue 75. I forgot about that.
So, anyway, if you guys remembered that pop quiz, well, she got a D. And that's not great, considering even Moose made a B on it. Courtney tells May not to sweat it, though, because she's been pretty distracted lately, and everyone can tell. So May catches up with Courtney and how Moose is still not opening up, but Courtney hopes she can get him to talk at the coffee shop later. She invited May, and mentions that Brad will be there, but Mayday advises that Brad has lost his Bradness. And Courtney asks if maybe that means JJ is back in the picture, but nope. May is kind of over JJ and him always needing to flirt. So May asks kind of what is wrong with her, and why like she keeps falling for the wrong men when these two floating heads pop up, Normie and Black Tranchula, which I didn't think May was into him like that. So that's interesting. And I also wrote, ew. Chris walks up to the girls and offers tutoring help to May, and Courtney basically elbows May into inviting Chris to coffee. And there is a lovely little riff on how that made Chris's day, and that May says, well, like my father said, you know, blah, 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 responsibility. There must also come, with great power, there must also come responsibility, which it is written correctly here and not paraphrased like on all of the merch. So, and anyway, May ditches study hall and swings over to confront Black Tarantula about why he surrendered so easily, because that has been on her mind, which fair. So she meets with Whedon and his team, and through a video link talks to Fabian, who is laying it on thick with the compliments and advising how he chose to inconvenience himself with a minor stint in capture to prevent possible harm to his one and only Spider-Girl, which, all right, cool. Ew. Raptor offers to walk Spider-Girl out and discuss the latest fashions, which isn't very Brenda, so Mayday knows something's up. Meanwhile, Normie is pleading with Elan to not force him into the goblin goo as it destroyed his family. And Elan gets upset with this because, well, cult logic, and decides that this is obviously Spider-Girl's brainwashing. And not like, Normie's own cognizance. So she decides to call May because she just, I guess, last issue, Fabian's misogynistic. There's a lot of misandry going on with Elan here. Just throwing that out there. Because, she doesn't care about Normie's feelings, but she's going to talk to Spider-Girl. Not even Normie's girlfriend. No, Spider-Girl. Okay. Well, I got a lot of feelings about Elan. So anyway, at the fairgrounds, Spidey and Raptor talk about what Raptor really needed to chat about. Normie is missing and not calling her back. Spider-Girl explains what Elan told her, and Brenda doesn't believe it because it's not like Normie to not be upfront about his feelings, mostly. And this doesn't line up with what she knows. She advises Spider-Girl that she needs to check up on Normie, but she can't really leave the reservation without permission. Meanwhile, Spider-Girl's phone rings and it's Elan. Elan advises she needs Spider-Girl to meet up with her and help Normie make a decision. May gets over to the bunker lair in like 13 minutes, and May sees Normie tied up and hanging above the goblin goo. So she makes a quip where she writes goblin goo. I just keep calling it that. And Normie is not amused. He's kind of over the quips. He's like, no. But two, I also want to preface though, she's probably quipping so hard because she makes a lot of jokes here, and she tends to make jokes when she gets nervous. And we can talk about it further, but like Normie being in this predicament, I feel like even though we don't really discuss it, it's setting off her nerves a bit. Just from the way that like it's the way she's quipping. So Elan explains that I don't know why I wrote just an E. So but Normie explains that what the vat of goo is, which is goblin juice, and that Elan is in a cult that worships his grandfather. While Spider-Girl is trying to keep Elan distracted so Raptor could save Normie, Brenda just can't stop herself from trying to take Elan down, which kind of fails as Elan was just able to backhand her and cause her crashing down and knocked out. which last issue took a yacht. So I have questions about Alon's strength. May was hoping to avoid fighting, but now that seems inevitable. Alon thinks this is because she's intimidating as the queen of the goblins, but May didn't really say that as much as it's just she doesn't want to fight. Not that she wouldn't, and lands a good punch to Alon's jaw. Normie starts to panic about the fact that Brenda isn't getting up since she's knocked out cold. This distracts May because Normie's panicked, and Alon manages to stab May while she's distracted. Thanks, Normie. Alon tells Spider-Girl to suck it up because it was just a flesh wound, and presses a button to drop Normie into the vat of goblin goo. Alon goes on about the lies about Norman Osborn and what the cult believes as she's going in to stab Spider-Girl again, right as she says Spider-Man will soon be completely forgotten because he didn't contribute anything to his world. May stops her right there and reminds Alon that she's Spider-Man's legacy. Spider-Girl tries to tell Alon she was used by the cult to do their dirty work, but Alon's been drinking the Kool-Aid a little too long, so she doesn't really believe it, and they continue to fight. May throws her into the vat, breaking it and freeing Normie. May is worried about what the chemicals could have done to Normie, but that's not Normie's main concern right now. Raptor is still unconscious. Normie tells her to check on Raptor since she seems to need medical attention. May grabs Raptor and gets Normie and Raptor to safety before going back into the now inferno, as we learn that the goblin juice is highly flammable, to rescue Alon. But apparently Alon had escaped before May could get to her. May is telling Whedon this as she's getting patched up at Whedon's compound, and before they can kind of get into it and start fighting again, Whedon is called away, and Fabian is calling Spider-Girl's cell phone to tell her that he escaped as he was confident he would, which infuriates May. As she walks out, Normie is waiting in the hall for her. He asks her how she's doing, and May asks him if he's okay, which he says he is, but I have questions about that too. And Normie tells May she's always there when he needs her. And when May asks about Raptor, Normie says she's perfect twice. He tells May that, this really clarified things with him and he plans to make a serious commitment to Raptor. May tells him that that's great, but internally she's conflicted. She tells herself that if he turns around, she'll tell him how she feels and maybe actually scratch that. May feels childish about thinking about doing this. Like, Normie's made his choice and she needs to respect that. And if he's moved on, then so can she. And as she kind of sets herself on that resolve, Normie does look back. May at some point changes into her civvies and walks back to her house. Before she gets in, Chris walks up, wanting to check in on her since she ditched the coffee hangout, thinking that it might be because of him. May tells him she had something pop up, but she's glad that he stopped by and asks if he could go for a decent cup of coffee about right now, or about that time. And they walk off, presumably, to Cafe Indigo. The end for now.
And note, there is no letters page in this issue.
No letters page.
No letters page. And there was no bonus page with the Spider-Girl and Amazing
Yes.
Friends.
Yeah, there's not.
Just want to make that note right quick. As I get into my notes, this is what a good conclusion to end the episode with. In terms of issues, it's like Kelly planned this or something. Really like this issue. It's a really good issue. I actually like Elon. I have issues with her, but as a
I have feelings. I enjoy her.
Yeah.
I wish we got more of her. It's just she needs she needs some conversion, like anti-cult conversion therapy.
Oh yeah, she's definitely. I mean, around this time, the Order of the Goblin was something that was becoming more prevalent. Obviously, the Scryers were obviously a thing prior to this, but this was right around the time, I want to say, a couple, maybe a year or so removed from the Revenge of the Green Goblin miniseries, which the Order of the Goblin was an offshoot of the Scryers, so they were a cult of a cult, and which was drawn by Mr. Ron Friends, and I think it was inked. I'll have to double check, but I think it was inked by Pat Olaf. Fun fact.
I'll have to check because I have it.
I think that was the one that was inked by Pat. He did the finishes on Ron's pencils. So so that was and I think that was the only time they ever got to work together on a project like that. So yeah, obviously there's Spidey elements and them taking the stuff that was going on around the time, adapting that in the 982 universe. I really, like I say, really enjoyed her. I enjoyed Whedon's reaction. He freaks out, leaves, and then right after he leaves, that's when Fabian calls Mayday. Which of course Fabian was going to get out. So, it's not the only time. I stand corrected. So it was Pat. Yeah. But really, like I say, enjoyed the issue. I enjoy Elon. She's as a goblin character, she fits the tone and tenor, and it's not just because she's a gender swapped goblin. It's not it at all.
No,
there's reasoning behind it. There's continuity behind it. Wrong. The buzzer goes off
on your laundry. Yeah,
not my laundry. It's my roommate's laundry. I'm waiting on them to finish their laundry so I can.
Gotcha.
But yeah, my computer's right next to the laundry room. For those that don't know, and that was not me using the soundboard for once. I really, like I say, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Artwork's fantastic. So I remember, and Ron, you can clarify. There was like a thing when Sal became the regular person doing the finishes that Sal would try to make Sal draw a panel in each issue. And I don't know if he still is doing that, but I know at one time he was doing that. I don't remember if this was during the period of time, but I remember in one of the old Crawlspace interviews that was the case. And so for me, like the panel right here, it's when she's talking to Fabian. It feels like that was a Sal Buscema drawn panel. I don't know if that's still a thing. Ron, you can respond in the comments if you're still watching. But like I say, really good issue, really well told story, and I have concerns for Normie. We'll have to get there later on.
I have a lot of concerns for Normie. I mean, I wrote, I'm gonna spitball here because I'm on the fence on how far I want. This is one of those issues that, like, especially when I was like 13, I really wanted to like dive in deep and like explore what the next issue could be. And I had in my brain that like the goblin juice just totally did affect him in some way. But I guess we'll have to see, but it doesn't quite work out the way my brain had like plotted this out back in 2004. But that's just something. It's like I always wondered like why the goblin juice didn't really affect him that way, because like I thought that was most definitely after he got thrown in. But like Vinkman does say, JR, our goblin expert, it's supposed to be gas form. So there's all these like these pills, liquids, drinks, etc. Like these aren't the ways that it was supposed to be. But, again, this is 982. This is its own world, so maybe it's a vat. Plus, it looks very much like the 2002 Spider-Man.
It's very cinematic.
Yeah, very cinematic. But also, too, like like I said earlier about the thing where even though we don't really like get the context internally, you get the feeling that May is nervous, which, she just like totally like defeated Lady Ock finally, in a big like brawl out fight in a boat show where Lady Ock is throwing yachts.
Yeah.
And she wasn't as nervous there as much as she is here, which I think had everything to do with Normie being in danger. But like, we don't really get that full explanation. I mean, it could just be because Brenda went rogue, because she did. And yeah, this is like all three of them together should never be in this situation ever.
Right.
Because like they're throwing Normie, Brenda, and May are throwing each other all off, honestly. Yeah. And of course, Alon's in her own little world, which good for her.
It's a long world. They were just living in it.
Yeah, no, good for her. She's like on one level playing, and then like May's nervous for Normie, but Normie's nervous for Brenda. So Normie's just going to annoy the crap out of Spider-Girl to save both of them instead of, I don't know, like, because but it throws Mayday off because she's almost hyper focused on Normie. At least the way that I like reread this. And I know like I read this the same way when I was 13, but for vastly different reasons, because I was that weird person that wanted them together as a teen. It's a horrible idea. I'm very glad that didn't happen. Because it's actually far better story-wise that it didn't. Not everything has to be a cliche, but I remember being frustrated at the end here, where he turns back and I'm like, no, why didn't you like turn back and talk to him? And now I'm just more frustrated because it very much feels like he's her greatest ally, but here he's almost like a weakness for her.
Yeah,
in this situation.
It's interesting, the dichotomy with the character. I agree with, completely agree with that. So Ron, I had posed a question for Ron in the comments about Sal and everything. He said that was based on how often I would screw up a character detail, and Sal would have to come in through with the fix. I joked with him that it was a deliberate on my part to get more Sal art in every issue. Well, there you go. That's the answer to my question. So now we know it's because he messed up.
No. Okay.
His art's flawless. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Ron never messes up.
No.
But yeah, no, I have really nothing more to add on that one. Do we want to jump over to
all of our emails?
Yeah, we got a lot of emails. Now you combined two of them, right?
So I think I did on two of them because they were very small, by Feline Phoenix, which I will read those if you will read Vinkman's.
Okay. All right, so we have an email and by the way, our email addresses are makemymayday@gmail.com and spideyradionetwork@gmail.com. So you can always leave us stuff there. Mm-hmm. And so, okay. So Vinkman's our first email. Says, hello, Kelly and Zach. Just writing in to say how much I'm enjoying the show. In particular, I thoroughly enjoyed many side discussions and rants that occurred during your season of the Serpent coverage. Now, in the past, I've talked about my personal headcanon theory about the original 616 continuity ending in 98, switching over to 92 as their natural continuation of Volume 1 of ASM, because I much prefer how things panned out in Spider-Girl than what we ended up with for the last 20 years. While he'd like to stick to this headcanon theory, admittedly, there are some cracks in the foundation, specifically whether or not 982 is an alternate future or an alternate present. Case in point, Spider-Girl 71, Mayday makes a reference to Jamie Kennedy, who he hadn't heard of in over a decade. When he was rereading the issue that day, he thought to himself, oh, right, Jamie Kennedy used to be a thing, wasn't he? Going back to the beginning of this year when Spider-Girl ended up in the past in issues 10 and 11, I pointed out that there was some discrepancy among the Spider Slayer fight. In that original issue, Peter sacrifices his costume in order to escape. Jameson and Smythe then catches up to Spider Girl in a spare outfit. Except in the original Spider Slayer story of ASM Volume 125, Volume 1, Number 25, May confiscates this spare suit at the end of the story and refuses to give it back, believing he was going to wear it as a prank. It becomes a major plot point for the next couple issues. Peter has to use an ill-fitting store-bought costume instead of his regular one. So, where did the other spare costume from Spider-Girl 11 come from? Well, we can either chalk it up to being a simple continuity goof, or maybe, just maybe, things really did play out differently in Earth 982, and it doesn't line up with the Earth 616 as much as I'd like. When you consider this and the many other differences that you've pointed out, perhaps you guys are right. Maybe we should just let Earth 982 be its own thing and stop trying to square peg it into the round hole that is 616 and an alternate continuation. Now, does this mean I'm going to completely abandon my own headcanon continuity theory? Not necessarily. Personal headcanon for the Star Wars universe is far more convoluted and requires a ridiculous amount of mental gymnastics in order to make it work. My Spider-Man headcanon is like child's play by comparison. I know Zach's not a Star Wars fan, so I'll spare him the details. I guess the point is he's trying to make that listening to you guys talk about MC2 has made him rethink his position on certain things from time to time and look at it from a different perspective. And he truly appreciates it, so he thanks us. Keep up the amazing and spectacular work until Marvel comes out with a Spider-Girl and Jeff the Landshark team-up comic. Make my Mayday. Sincerely, Vinkman.
Yeah, and Vinkman did actually write that a few hours before the last time we recorded, but I create cutoffs on emails like that. So like once our notes are set, we generally don't. We'll hold off. So that was a little bit older, and yes. Neil had drawn me Spider-Girl and Jeff the Landshark literally like the next day. So
yeah. Oh, Neil, he's such a character.
So it's awesome. So thank you, Vinkman, for that. And also too, like I feel like this also ties into the whole thing about like what we were talking about with the new ASM with that splash page.
Absolutely.
So a lot of what I think caused the commotion is a lot of fans really do feel like this is the way the future of the 616 should be. And it totally should. This is definitely an idealized world. Like in a perfect world, this would totally be the future. Right. But the 616 can't really have a future because that's your current continuity. It's your current comic. It's gonna change all the time. It's gonna have different writers. You can never really plan something out like that. And that's kind of always been my big thing. Like at one point in time, yeah, you could make this fit pretty easily, but now there's too many differences. There's too many changes. Like I said, there's different continuity situations that I don't want to call errors because this is its own world. Like the MC2 is its own universe, and I just I'm more team like let's just embrace that and not knock it. I mean, we literally live in a world where the Spider-Verse is known by everybody. Like literally every 5-year-old you'll meet knows that there are multiple universes with multiple Spider people.
Speaking of that, there was a title that they finally made the title announcement on that. Across the Spider-Verse, which kind of goes into what we've been thinking and kind of hinting at and talking about here on the show on and off.
Yeah.
That's been brought up. So shout out to Sony for that.
Yeah. So again, like it's my thing is just, that's been my main thing. I know that like apparently that seems like to be a hot take because I've had multiple people come to me saying, well, if you need it fact checked, I'll fact check it for you. And I'm like, okay, but I literally am reading it by the page. I'm just.
It's an alternate look, and I remember this question being brought up a lot.
It's just it's not set because the future is not set. That's why it's its own world.
Yeah, and that's why elements of things that happen in the future are brought into this alternate present. That's why to me the alternate present theory works far better than it does. Yes, it's an alternate present because the Marvel universe was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's an alternate. Because I mean, adding Aranyo obviously is not a character that's around until around this time, and spoiler alert, she does a version of that shows up later. So there's examples of that being, and the Order of the Goblin, I mean, being brought in to this story was brought in.
Was the Order of the Goblin? Was the Order of the Goblin retconned?
That thing's always been such a weird, loosey-goosey, timey-wimey continuity headache.
I mean, so were the Stacy twins, and they got retconned.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I think it's still technically. I think it dissolved.
Okay.
But I can't. It was off panel.
There's still a fraction.
Yeah, there's still
in somebody's pocket.
Yeah, I'm sure Donald Mencken is somewhere out there, organizing all that. So.
Yeah, but again, that's kind of been my main thing. So, it's not necessarily that we're right or wrong. It's just you can't.
It's a different perspective.
Exactly, and you can't always dictate, what real life storytelling will I guess happen that will change things that were written in the past about a possible future.
There you go.
Just a thing. Anyway,
so to our second email.
Yeah, so second and third, which are from Feline Phoenix, who is listening in to us, and I squee because I read her fan fictions, and I want her to write more fan fiction because she's really great. So Feline Phoenix wrote, "Hi again. First things first. Wow, thank you, Kelly, for the kind words. If I may return the squee, I thought what you said about May in Season of the Serpent, listening to the episode now, was really lovely and described what's so great about the character. Secondly, sure, I'd love to be on. Let me know when you guys want to do that." And then I wrote an editor note that we do need another fan panel and we do need her on. So I kind of want to get some fan fiction, fan art, like cosplay, stuff like that. Try and get another fan panel going. So if you guys want to join, let me know. And then she wrote, "P.S. Spoiler, but I was a little surprised you guys didn't talk about how Mayday accidentally told Courtney she was Spider-Girl at the end of Season of the Serpent. Are you saving it for Amazing?" And I have another editor note. I thought we did.
We kind of teased it, but we didn't go into explicit detail because I think we were going to talk. I think our exact words were, "We'll talk about." I think she kind of answers their own question. I think we'll talk about it later when we get to Amazing, where it's
Well, too, there's even hints in issue 100 too,
right.
And I think that's what I was talking. If I hinted at it instead, that's what I was talking about. But I want to say that I did mention it, just because I was like, Moose literally walked in. Moose could have overheard it. But yeah, no, I think we hinted at it more, since there's more to that story in a later time. And then she also wrote, Quentin Flynn as Dark Devil for me, because I think we were asking about voice actors. Yeah. Something, and she wrote, "Something like using his regular Spidey voice for Riley and his later in Metal Gear Raiden voice for when he's in costume," which would be pretty cool.
That would be fair.
That is cool.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Good job, Feline Phoenix.
Yeah, Feline Phoenix.
I remember her too from the message board. She's an old message board poster too.
Yeah.
So
we're all still around, and
I know, but over the years with various with the Crawl Space message board and obviously the Spider-Man message board, you'd see people pop in and fade out and pop in and fade out. And you always wonder where they go. They're still, knock on wood, you hope they're still alive, but you just don't know. You're wondering what happened to that person. So it's nice.
We all grew up and got jobs, and adulting sucks. And sometimes, if you're like me, I just keep being loud and finding people through social media. Or create podcasts where we can all talk and come back together, since RIP message board.
Exactly. You can always go over to our Discord. The link is up on our front page of spidey-dude.com. I wish I could make like a link that everybody could just click on, but that's not the way Discord works.
We probably need to start working on like actually putting these show notes up, but then everybody will see like how chaotic our notes really are.
Yeah, maybe we should just put like an outline of our notes, not like we'll put on a separate.
No, I'll just put a link to the whole Google Drive. Just
oh no,
let people have at it, I guess. Anyway, do we have any voicemails?
No, there is no voicemails. But the voicemail line, speaking of, is 818-925-6631. That is the voicemail line. Other than that, you want to tease next episode?
Yeah, we don't have any reviews or anything like that.
No, I looked at it this morning. Not yet.
Not yet.
If you want to leave a review on your favorite podcasting catcher,
that allows you to review because Spotify doesn't.
Spotify does not, but Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and I think iHeartRadio Podcasts, as well as Amazon, all let you do reviews. So
yeah, we're on Audible.
We are on Audible because we're on Amazon Podcasts. We're on Audible.
Yeah. So so next episode we're gonna tackle Spider-Girl 80 through 84. So we're gonna see the return of everyone's favorite villain, the Dragon King, and of course, not a villain, but one of our favorite artists, Pat Olaf, is also on that issue on 80, and then 81 is a great Father's Day issue. And then we get to do Back to Black, which I wrote in here that I want to take those breakdowns because I enjoy that story so much. Speaking of Back to Black, wearing my shirt.
Yep.
And yeah, so, and then I noticed too, is like, we're getting close to the end of the original series, and where has the time gone? I guess the time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, now of course, there's going to be, I think now, like after, so basically we are 2 episodes before we start doing Last Hero Standing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk about how that all came about and everything like that when we get to that point.
Yep.
So yeah, really, really excited. So join us next time. I don't have a specific date, obviously, because of my move back to Houston and getting schedules kind of synchronized and everything like that. We'll get that all straightened out and taken care of. So with that, I do want to let everybody know. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're watching us live on YouTube or if you're listening to us on the audio versions, which all the audio versions we're not caught up. So I'll be downloading the audio version tonight before I go to bed and start working on it here probably this weekend. So hopefully very soon, hopefully by next week, you'll have the audio version of this episode. If you want to find us on Facebook, you can always find us on Facebook at Spidey Dude Radio Network. Twitter handles, follow me at Spidey Dude, at Spidey Dude Radio, and at Make My Mayday is Kelly's Twitter. YouTube is youtube.com/Spidey Dude Radio Network. Instagram, you can follow Kelly at KMcDaniel28. You can also follow the website, Instagram's at Spidey Dude Network on Instagram as well. And follow Kelly on TikTok at Make Mine Mayday. So with all of that, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Of course, if you're an audio listener, thank you. Leave us a review like we mentioned earlier. Leave us 5 stars. Let us know how we're doing. Leave us that review and we'll read that feedback on the show. Of course, if you want your voice to be on the show, you can always leave a voicemail, 818-925-6631, or the email addresses at makemymayday@gmail.com and SpideyDudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. One last shout out to our Patreons at patreon.com/SpideyDudeNetwork. Thanks to Scott, Venkman, Jurgen, and Greg. Thank you guys for your support, and we will see you guys next time here on Make Mine Mayday.
Night, guys.